this shit. Got my fucking stomach in, never eat a fucking again. Better pray for all my sin, I don't feel no pain again. Fucking quit, got my fucking stomach in, I don't need a fucking again. Suffer now for all my sin, never feel no pain again. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing.
Waking up like I ain't broke. All I need's a fucking smoke. While I fucking walk, drink another fucking coke. Food just make me wanna choke. Got my stomach all like smoke. No, that's not a fucking joke. Clear my plate, I'd rather croak. Extra shit like a bad plot. Mentally, all I do is rot. Feels like I've been fucking shot. Fuck this love, I only suck my lot. Why so fat? Why so fat? You so ugly, got no tats. Why so fat? Why so fat?
Now you feel just like a mat. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing.
Feel so nauseous, I can't eat. All I want's to fucking sleep. Caught it out, that's not a leap. I won't, so I'd rather weep. Fuck this shit, I don't know why. Makes me wanna fucking die. All I do is fucking cry. You won't see me eye to eye. I ain't hungry, eat no steak. Want no bake for your cake. Fuck them bitches, they all fake.
They just judge and want a snake. Bile in my throat when I see a fucking note. I don't want to fucking choke. All I need's an antidote. When I die, so she wrote. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing. If I'm what I eat, then I must be nothing.
All right. What up, y'all? Nope. I'm not playing more music. What up? Whew. Welcome, everybody. I should probably put my camera on. There we go. Welcome, chat, yo. Welcome, everyone in the chat. What up, Graham Dolph? What up, Realize TV? What up, White Flags 2? What up, Peaceful Pyro? What up, Chess? Underhaven, Hyun, Mickey Richards, Jay Troido. Welcome, everyone. What up, Smrots? Oh boy. All right, guys. Look, I'm gonna get into this shit in a few minutes, but I want to be clear. All right. I'm not throwing no hostility over at Paul's ego. All right. Paul said some dumb fucking shit, and I'm gonna address it. All right. But I'm going to also do my best to try and be very charitable to Paul. I love Paul, but his takes are becoming less nuanced and charitable. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that because I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Look, I love Paul. I do. I look up to Paul. I respect him. I think he's a good entertainer. I think for the most part, he's a good dude. I think his intentions are good. But personally, I think a lot of his arguments come from spite-based emotional reasoning. And that's not to say that, like, using emotions can't help you reach a political position, because of course it can. But I feel like sometimes arguments can be a little too, look, you know what? I should just get into it. I shouldn't waste a lot of time with a bunch of preamble. At first, Paul says, I'm not going to tell me not to vote. Just don't shame me. Paul, now vote for Biden. Shame. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of my big fucking beef with Paul right now. And I've been very open about the fact that I think that's a dumb take. And I even tried to talk to Paul, and I thought, like, look, okay, I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from on the, like, oh, you know, fuck voting for Biden thing. I get why he feels that way. I get why he hates the Democrats. But I do feel like, in large part, it's irrational, and it doesn't really... it doesn't really lend itself to, well, to reality all that much. I mean, look, guys, my position for voting for Joe Biden since the very start, I've never liked Joe Biden. I've always said, personally, I think Joe Biden is scum. Personally, I think most of the Democrats are scum. But the vision that the Republicans have for this country is worse, and it's dangerous. And you could tell me, see, here's the thing. I'll even grant some charitability and say, you know what, Paul, you could look at me making that argument and saying my argument of why Trump was the biggest problem in this election, we needed to get rid of him. You could say that my argument is coming from a place of emotion. And I wouldn't get mad at you. I'd take that criticism in and think, okay, well, let's see. What are all the horrible fucking things that Donald Trump has done within his presidency? What are all the horrible fucking things that he wanted to do and would have done if he'd have fucking stayed in office? How did he act after he was democratically elected, unelected? Or voted against, right? Voted out of office, right? How do we... Look, maybe I'm a little emotional there too, but I feel like I'm being pragmatic as well. I gotta look at the facts. I gotta look at the nuances. The nuances between Trump and Biden, because I could take the lazy man's way out and just look at him and say, the system's corrupt. They're both corrupt. They're both fucked. So I'm not going to... And I might be straw manning Paul. He might accuse me of straw manning him there because I'm not calling him lazy. Personally, a lot of people that I see seem really lazy when it comes to, like, just kind of dismissing Biden as just as bad as Trump. They kind of just look at the system. They see some corruption on both sides, and they say, "Yeah, it's both bad." And I agree. It's bad on both sides. But when it's bad on both sides, especially to the insane degrees that our system is, and especially with the stakes that are at hand right now. What is at stake for this country? What is at stake if a fascist orange dictator stays in office for another 4 years, keeps chipping away at trans rights, keeps chipping away at women's rights? What's even worse than just Trump? What's at stake if we elect more Republicans? Allow Republicans to run rampant with their anti-woman, anti-LGBT policies. They're already doing it in in states where they have control. They're already trying to erode abortion rights and gay marriage. There's even Republican senators and shit, or what was it, judges that were appointed by Trump that wanted to go after gay marriage. I'm sorry. If you want to look at Trump and Biden, if you want to look at the choice that we're given and say, they're both pretty much the same, might as well just not vote. I'm sorry. You're being dishonest. There is a difference between the Republican platform and the Democratic platform. I don't like that the Democrats do not go far enough, not nearly far enough. But I'm not going to let further freedoms be eroded because because I'm just so mad at the Democrats. You think I'm not mad at the Democrats? In fact, you think I wouldn't like to be spending more time on here criticizing Joe Biden and Democratic leaders? I want to. But it's really fucking hard when everywhere you look, there's a bunch of black pill doomers spouting off about how, any negative thing Joe Biden does, see, I told you so. And anything positive that Joe Biden or the Democrats do, that's not good enough. He does something, I told you so. He does something good, that's not good enough. Well, we knew he was going to do bad things. All of us did. That's why in the primaries, I voted, I supported Bernie Sanders. But of course, Bernie never had a chance anyway, so. That's why I didn't want us to be stuck with a rapist. A possible rapist. I listened to the story. Honestly, I want to believe it. I don't want to just not believe it. But at the same time, and in fact, I did believe it immediately when I first heard it. I was like, damn, that's fucked up. This is why we can't have Joe Biden win the primaries. But rather than push for Bernie, a lot of people would have rather just pushed for, nope, not even voting, not even in the primary. Look, if you can't sign your name next to a reprehensible scumfuck for president, I could get behind that. You couldn't at least go and hedge your bets by voting for Bernie Sanders in the primary, even if you thought it wasn't going to have an effect. That's why I was telling people, at least make an attempt. At least make an attempt to push for a decent candidate. A lot of people didn't want to do that. A lot of people were riding the no confidence bandwagon back during the fucking primaries. See, when we have I'll even concede. I want on every single ballot a no confidence vote. I want it. Who do you want for president? Trump, Biden, no confidence. Absolutely. But does how does not voting accomplish that? I know some people would say it does. I don't see how do you think that the fucking DNC or the establishment in general is going to listen to you? Because from the way I'm sitting, when I look at the system and the way it's set up, and especially the way the establishment tries to make people feel about politics, the way a lot of news networks talk about political shit, the system, I almost feel first of all, guys, let's be clear. I know a lot of people say oh, well, if voting changed anything, they wouldn't let you do it. My response to that has always been, if voting did nothing, Republicans wouldn't be fighting so hard for your vote. There wouldn't be fucking misinformation campaigns against any fucking socialist ideology in this country. Remember back during the primaries? There were ads running against Medicare for All during the debates. And I know some of you want to use that to oh, well, see, Look how stacked the deck is against us. I like to view the glass half full and say, well, look at that. They feel threatened by us. They feel threatened by our ideas. So let's keep pushing these ideas. Because that's what they're truly afraid of. They don't want us pushing Medicare for all. They don't want us pushing a living wage. They don't want us pushing free education and immigration reform and all of that. They don't want us to. You can tell me I'm naive and I'm stupid, Paul, but at least I'm trying. At least I'm trying what I believe will have the greatest effect. At least I'm trying to have a positive effect in some fucking way. Yeah, I'm going to vote for Democrats when the Republicans that are standing up against them are worse. When they want to do worse for this country. When they want to lessen the quality of living for everyone in this country, but especially women and LGBT people and disabled people. I want to vote for Democrats so I can defeat Republicans. And then I want to do my best to push the people of this country left. You talk about solidarity, workers' movements. I believe in that too. But we got to push class consciousness. How do we do that if we're pushing people away and telling them that for voting for Biden, they're pieces of shit? They're shameful. They're rapist. So anyway, I'm. You know what? Let's just jump into the video, guys. Let's jump into it. I feel like that's a good enough. In fact, I touched upon a lot of my arguments that I want to make, but let's go in depth. Let's address this properly. All right. Because I don't want to be accused of mind quoting Paul's ego or nothing. You know. Oh, that's the wrong. Wait. Where's the? Paul was just making a point. I think it was an extremely dishonest point. If you want to say I'm a hypocrite for the way I vote and the way I believe, make that argument, but like No, I vote the way I vote because of what I believe. I care about women's issues. I care about abuse victims. I care about the fact that policies that Republicans push are more often than not policies that allow abuse victims, rapists, abusive parents to get away with pretty much murder. I care about all of that. All right, let's God damn it. Let's take a look at this, guys. Where'd it go? There it is. All right. We're going to go we're going to go 52 minutes. No, 1 hour and 52 minutes in to Paul's stream. For those of y'all who want to know what the stream was, it was called Argue or Be Argued from the other night. Here, we'll put it on screen. Nope, wrong thing. Sorry. All right. 1 hour, 52 minutes in. We're going to go to the top of this discussion because Paul was talking about... I actually kind of agreed with what Paul was talking about when he came in, and he was talking about how, yeah, you know, our boots are on the necks of many downtrodden people in many different countries. Our country, you know, we're not outright fascists, but we skirt that line on a lot of shit and in the people we support. I believe that. 100%. But that doesn't mean that if I'm given the choice between two people who are going to do that anyway, one of which is going to do worse things in other areas and one of which is going to do better things in other areas, I'm going to pick the one that is better in certain areas, right? Makes sense to me. So yeah, let's jump into this. All right? Let's
You know what I mean?
All right. And we'll speed this up a little bit.
We support literal, brutal dictatorships that violently kill their populace, that violently repress LGBTQ people and women all around the fucking globe. Cozy as fuck with these motherfuckers. And yet we're not a fascist country, though. Why? Because we have this nationalistic lie that we tell to ourselves that we're some grand democracy, while the proof in the pudding is we're not. The truth of the matter is we're 370 million motherfucking people. Let's be real about this. What we generate exports misery to every fucking corner of this goddamn globe, and you better fucking believe it too. Our boot is on the neck of every gay person, every lesbian, every bisexual, every trans person in the global south. Every person of color, every indigent person, every poor person. We get a little bit of the softer boot here, and we're all comfy, and we all want to protect it, and we all want to put the fucking horse blinders on and pretend like none of the rest of this is happening. We want to wait around for finger bangers like Joe Biden, racist, corporatist, rapist fucks.
So
how do you feel about that, Jamie, voting for somebody who...
All right, so just to cut him off before he gets into a specific question about me, I love how he's talking about the horrible fucking things that are being done in the world, and he strawmans people who support Biden as waiting around for Biden to solve the problem. I don't believe Biden is going to solve or fix that problem in any fucking way. In fact, I fully expect him to make it worse. I just expect Trump to make it even worse than that.
Backed somebody up against a wall and slid their fingers into her vagina. As somebody that very recently has been covering women's issues on your stream, how do you feel about walking into the voting booth?
Well, first of all, I didn't walk into the voting booth and sign my name beside anyone because I still am not eligible to vote. However, my wife did vote for Biden, and I advocated for people to vote for Biden. And so I didn't bring this up during during that stream because I figured it doesn't really make a difference. I already know what Paul's response to that would be. By supporting Biden, what I'm doing is just as bad. And by supporting him and telling other people to vote for him, what I'm doing is just as bad, if not worse, because I'm potentially influencing multiple people to sign their names next to a rapist. So I guess that doesn't really matter. But you want to know how, honestly, Paul, my honest answer to that? It feels like garbage. It feels like garbage having to fucking advocate for someone like that. It truly does. I hated it. I hate it every minute. Which is why I fought so hard to push Bernie during the primaries. Because I didn't want to have to push, especially when I heard the rape allegations about Biden. I didn't want to push someone like that. I despised Biden. I still despise Biden. But I despise Trump more. And that's probably going to be the general thing. I know you think that's whataboutism, but it's really not when we're given only two options. Two options between two potential rapists. What do you do? See, Paul likes to say that the very act of signing your name next to those people is somehow an endorsement of their actions. by that logic, living in this country is an endorsement of their actions. Benefiting from what they do anyway is an endorsement of their actions. That's not the way I view it, though. I view it as we're only given so many choices in this country, and we're only given so much power. Our vote is a part of that power that we're given, that we're able to use to nudge things in one direction or the other. It's not a good system, but I don't believe that not engaging in it is going to make any fucking kind of a change. I just don't. I think you got, like, I honestly, I think you gotta change the minds of the voter base, the people who are already voting. Convince them of the policies that you believe will be solutions to the problems that we live in. And I know we agree on a lot of those solutions already. Like, that's the thing. We just don't agree how to get there. And I feel like there'll be a lot of rehashing the same points. So I'm just going to keep continuing.
And voting for somebody who pushed a woman up against a wall and forcibly forced his fingers into her pussy. And used his power and privilege to do that. Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, he waits for a minute for me to respond specifically.
Jamie has to say about that.
It took me, by the way,
Gross.
so I want to be clear, and I'll show you guys my response here. It took me a while, and I'll be honest, I was kind of put on the spot here. I didn't expect this level of, which, it's fine, I can argue against it, but like, yeah, I felt kind of on the spot. I was trying to figure out what to say that I could say in the chat, because I wanted to say Trump was a rapist too. And I actually did a couple times, and it deleted my comments, so I had to keep fucking typing it out. But my response to that, Paul, is that Trump is a rapist too. Yup, Trump was literally on Epstein Island. Trump was literally seen palling around with Epstein, going, oh yeah, me and Epstein have something in common. We both like him young. There are court cases of was a 15-year-old girl who could literally describe Trump's penis and described him having sex with her. That completely went nowhere because, of course, rich, powerful men are going to be able to avoid that shit. Yeah, Paul. A lot of rich, powerful men in this country do fucked up shit. And honestly, if you think voting your name beside one of them is an endorsement of that behavior, what about supporting a company where the CEO, or where a production company where the director or an actor on set or some higher up in any business is doing the exact same thing? It's happening all over our fucking country. All over the country. And on average, Democrats push policies that help Democrats push policies that help hold those people accountable. At least more often than not. Not always. But the Republicans absolutely push policies which allow people to get away with that sort of shit. The Republicans absolutely, even outside of electoralism, Republicans in general, conservatives in general, are very uncharitable to rape victims. You think I want those people in power? I don't want rapists in power. But honestly, Paul, like, and I get, like, that's probably where you're at anyway, is just, I was just going to say, well, if that's how you feel, then don't vote for anyone. I get it. That is your position. Don't vote for anyone. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't think that fucking works. I don't think that changes a goddamn thing. George Bush was probably a rapist. For all we know, Obama did some questionable shit. Who fucking knows? All the fucking powerful people in this country are corrupt as fuck, and I want them exposed. And I believe that under a democratic establishment, it's far more likely that those things are going to get taken seriously than under Republican ones. I believe that under Republican judges, under Democratic judges, a rape case is going to be looked at far more charitably than under a Republican one.
Somebody screenshot that.
So my response, by the way, to Paul's question, which he thought was gross and deserved screenshotting. Where'd it go? It's gone, yo. It's gone. It disappeared. There's no chat. Okay, wait, I screenshotted it. Okay, I'll just tell you guys. All I basically said was, Biden hurt kids too. And Paul said, my response is disgusting. No, Trump, sorry. Trump hurt kids too. Yeah, it's disgusting to say that Trump hurt kids too. That Trump is a child rapist. No, it's a fact, Paul. And I'm not saying that's the only reason I voted for Biden. But, like, when I look at the two of them, and they are at least the same or similar on an issue, as far as I'm concerned, when this comes down to who's going to be the most powerful person in this country, who's going to be able to sway policy one way or the other, again, I'd rather have my preferences. I'd rather have which of these two people have things that I prefer, that I would rather go with. And so if them both being a rapist is a thing, then I guess that's a factor that's not worth not worth paying attention to, at least when it comes to which of them to vote for. Because I'm sorry, as someone who claims to be a leftist, your non-participation is still, it's not an endorsement of the other candidate, but it contributes to the other candidate's likelihood of winning. It just does, Paul. It does. Objectively. The more left-leaning people that don't vote, the more of a chance the Republicans are going to win.
Gross. Real fucking gross. Yeah, Biden is hurting kids all over the fucking world right now.
Yeah, and it's fucked. Fuck Biden. You know, this is the fucking problem, Paul. I really do feel like people like me have a much harder time being able to call out someone like Biden when people like you are dishonestly using these kinds of tactics to make it look like Biden and Trump are the same, and to do the fucking I told you so thing every 5 minutes when it comes to Biden and any negative thing he does. How do you expect to, like, I want to hold Biden accountable, but I'm also not trying to push people away from my movement. I'm not trying to make people fucking feel ashamed because they voted for Biden because they believed it was what was right. I'm more interested in engaging with those people in good faith, seeing where they're coming from, and pushing them over on issues. But it's hard when there's people pushing the narrative that, like, oh, see, well, this is why you shouldn't vote. This is why you shouldn't vote. Because I feel like my criticisms of Biden, in the minds of the average viewer, is a slippery slope to your criticisms of Biden, which are, this is just why you should never vote Democrat or at all because they're both just as bad, which, it's bullshit. It's dishonest. I'm sorry, Paul. Look at the nuances between Biden and Trump. Be honest with yourself. You can rack up all the similarities you like. That still doesn't prove away their differences. That still doesn't prove away the differences in policy. And again, just Democrats and Republicans in general. If Biden is in power, the Democrats have more power and can do more good. They can fight for women's LGBTQ plus rights. They can, my God, they passed the Anti-Discrimination Act, which stops workplaces from discriminating against LGBT plus people. That's a good thing that Trump not only would never have done, but was actively fighting against. Democrats are pro-life. Republicans are not. And the more Republicans that are in power, we already saw under Trump a number of states banning abortions. We need Democrats in order to fight back against those things. Absolutely.
Let me ask you this question, Jamie, since you're probably really fucking versed in it. Are rapists typically one-time offenders?
Okay.
What's the recidivism rate on rape?
So Paul sticks on the rape thing for a while. So let me address this. If Joe Biden is guilty of what Tara Reade has accused him of, I believe there is every likelihood that he has done it again. But I don't know that. I know that there are multiple. And see, I hate doing this. I hate doing this like, oh, let's parse out. Let's see who's the worst rapist. Because you honestly can't know. You can't, Paul. There's more people that have spoken out against Trump. There's more people who have spoken out against Trump and been dragged through the mud and had their stories buried and been threatened. Could there have been more that Biden did that we just don't know about? Sure. But at this point, again, we are choosing between two rapists. Two rapists. One of whom is definitely going to lead our country. I'm sorry, Paul. Not voting doesn't mean that neither of them lead our country. Someone is going to lead our country, whether you like it or not. You want to talk about a vote of no confidence being an actual thing that goes on the ballot, where if the majority of people vote no confidence, we hold the primaries again or something, and the two candidates that were nominated before are ineligible. I am all for that. I want that. But don't pretend like your vote of no confidence is going to make any fucking difference, Paul. It doesn't. It doesn't make a difference. One of those men is going to be in power. A rapist is going to run our country. So let me choose the rapist that's going to fuck us a little less, Paul. Let me choose the rapist who's going to shit on my rights as a trans woman a little less, Paul. My rights as an immigrant a little less, Paul. And if you're saying I'm voting out of self-interest, you're damn right that's a part of the reason I support Biden. I don't want to be a second-class citizen. I don't want to be disallowed from women's spaces. I don't want to feel unsafe in this society, Paul. I don't want to have a society, a president in power who emboldens racist, transphobic, sexist people. I don't want that, Paul. Maybe you don't mind that so much. Maybe you can sit there and ignore it and put it aside and be like, oh, well, it's all for the greater good. I'm concerned about people suffering here and now, not some potential maybe solution in the future if shit gets bad enough and enough people die and enough of our country goes to shit, that maybe then we'll get to pick up the pieces. I care about people's lives too goddamn much, Paul. I care about the lives of people who are living here and now in this country. And I'm sickened at the foreign policy and what this country does to other countries. But I'm sorry, when it comes to that, we also don't get a choice. You can point out all you want the ways in which we don't have a choice, depending on who we're voting for. And maybe those things are the most important to you. Maybe that's what you view as your hill to die on. That's fine. I don't. I'm not going to die on a hill for no reason when I can push for things to be at least incrementally better for people in this country. So how do we get Biden to back Medicare for all? I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's going to be easy, but by spreading awareness of Medicare for all, guys, I know a lot of people are using the fact that Joe Biden hasn't jumped on his vow to do a public option, or to at least look into it in the first 100 days. I'm almost glad he hasn't done that yet. I'm almost glad that's not been pushed forth yet, because that gives us time as lefties, time which is right now being wasted, by the way, on bullshit arguments about electoralism when the election already fucking happened. We're wasting valuable time that we could be using right here, right now, to spread the idea that a public option is not good enough. But not to dishonestly say, guys, the public option's not good enough, so why the fuck did you vote for Biden? You people are idiots. This is why we need to sit back and cross our arms and refuse to engage in the system. No. We need to be using this time to argue, guys, what the Democrats want to push right now is a public option. Here's all the reasons that's not good enough. Here's why it's not fucking... Here's why it's a half measure. Here's how much money the average American person will save if we pass Medicare for all. Well, then we need to protest with what army? What people? We don't have the majority of this country on the side of Medicare for all yet. We just don't. The fact that forced the vote movement didn't go further proves that. We're not there yet. Keep fighting, keep pushing it, keep telling your friends and family members and your coworkers, every single person that you meet, keep advocating for it online. And yeah, make unions. Engage in local politics. That's another great way to spread these ideas. Go be an activist. Go engage in local organizations. And while you're there, spread your policy ideas. Convince people who are already politically minded and already left-leaning of why we need to do these policies. Let's get the majority of this country on board so that when the public option actually comes to the table, We can say as a people, as Americans, as leftists, as workers, no, that's not good enough. We want more. We want Medicare for all. We need it. And you know what? If it doesn't get passed in the next 4 to 8 years, at least we're spending our time spreading consciousness on this issue and making it more widely well received. That's how you get Medicare for all, or that's how you at least get closer to Medicare for all. Because saying fuck the Democrats and fuck voting doesn't get you closer to Medicare for all. It gets you closer to a possible collapse in which maybe afterwards we rebuild and create a decent society. I don't view people's lives as that fucking disposable, Paul. I don't view the people that are going to benefit from the harm reduction that you seem to cynically deride so often. I don't think their lives are disposable. You want to talk about people in the global south, people in the Middle East who are suffering? I hate it. But you know as well as I do, Paul, it's going to happen either fucking way. Either way. We don't have a choice. At least the Republicans, their rhetoric is at least stronger on anti-war ideologies. And they're actually talking about pulling out of certain areas. They're not doing enough. Not by a long shot. But it's better than the alternative. Here, let's continue.
Great. So if he pushed a woman up against the wall and forced his fingers into her vagina one time, you think that was a one-shot, Johnny?
Nope.
What does the science tell you about that, Jamie? Is rape typically a one-shot crime?
Okay, here, let me get to, because you already answered that. No, it's not, and that's why, like, again, this is irrelevant when it comes to who you're voting for at this point. When it's like, no, I already explained. You can't, we don't have a third option. Not voting isn't going to change the fact that there's going to be a rapist in office. So I'm sorry. That's not a good argument. Let's see. Oh. Let's go ahead a little bit.
And you voted for one of them. Congratulations. How do you... I understand that, but Trump did the same. And you voted for one of them. Congratulations. How do you feel as a woman, as a trans woman, who is currently dedicating her channel to women's issues, that you vocally supported someone that pushes women up against the wall and forces their fingers into their vaginas? And if you follow the science on fucking sex abusers, which I know you do, because of course you're dedicating a very significant portion of your content to it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least plan to, from what I understand, right? So you know what the recidivism rate is on sex abusers, right? Are you an advocate for women?
Absolutely.
For trans people?
Damn right.
For black people?
See, here's the thing. Yes, Paul, I'm an advocate for all of those things. That's why I support voting Democrat. Because I'm sorry, yes, the Democrats are better when it comes to policies that affect black people, policies that affect women, and policies that affect trans people. They just do. Joe Biden himself was pushing the Violence Against Women Act for years. This really seems like he's trying to bully you out of your way of thinking. Yeah, it almost kind of does. This is why, like, I went kind of back and forth on how I should approach this stream. I was going to come in just angry and yelling because I view what Paul is doing here as extremely fucking bad faith. But then I decided, no, I'm going to try and be more pragmatic here because honestly, like, Because I call Paul out at one point for really just, this is just an argument from emotion. And again, he got mad at me because he said, like, this whole thing, my whole pro-woman, anti-rape thing involves emotion. And, like, I can't be pro, I can't, holy fuck. Yeah, I can't be like, here, I'll try to find where he says it. Hang on, because I don't want to mind quote him, okay? No mind quoting. Here, let's, where is it? Oh, that's probably over here. Yeah, Paul jumps back and forth a lot here, so it's hard to find, like, everything I wanted to respond to. Here, let's jump ahead a little bit.
You gave ultimate power to a raper. To a man that uses women like a fucking fist object. Whenever he pleases, and you know it.
Again, Paul, ultimate power was given to a raper the minute the fucking nominations were set. It was gonna happen one way or another. It's which, it's which rapist do you want? But yeah, okay. So, yeah, everyone is emotional. Look, here's I'm gonna answer. I'm not gonna find the specific. We'll probably come across it later. But here's what I'm gonna say. Arguing from emotion, like, you should use your emotions to inform the positions you come to, absolutely. But there's a difference between using your emotions and your pragmatism to, like, come to a good stance and you know, come to rational decisions, and just acting on emotion and just saying, no, I'm pissed, so I'm doing this. And, like, this whole thing of, like, you're voting for a rapist, you're signing your name next to a rapist. I'm sorry, Paul, that's an appeal to emotion. Purely. That is nothing but an appeal to emotion. And, like, it's not even, like, I could use the same appeals to emotion to defend. Yeah, every stance is backed by some level of emotion. Exactly. I could use the same logic to defend voting for Biden and say, well, what about, again, what about the individual trans people, the individual women, the individual black people, the immigrants in this country who are having a hard time because of what Trump was putting them through? What about those people? At least, because by the way, Paul, let's be fucking honest. You know this as well as I do. The minute that rape accusation came out during the primaries and was immediately swept under the rug, it didn't matter whether Biden was given the presidency or not. He was never going to face accountability for that. Neither him nor Trump are ever going to face much accountability for most of their fucking crimes. It literally doesn't make a difference whether you vote for him or not. He's not gonna pay for his crimes. And the next fucking Democrat to take his place has probably done just as bad, or they've all done fucking yes, Paul, our country is run by horrible fucking pieces of shit. Yes, I hate it. Excuse me for choosing the less horrible option, because I want less people to suffer. You want me to let people suffer? You want me to let Trump cause more harm? More deaths More women being abused and victimized? More trans people and black people being abused and victimized? Because of one victim? Or even a number of victims? That weren't going to get justice anyway. That weren't going to get justice anyway. Like, you're acting as if the act of voting for Biden let him get away with that. No, the system that propped him up let him get away with that. The system, the DNC that elevated him to that position let him get away with that. Same as the system that put Trump where he was. We were given a choice, a shitty choice. Don't act like I'm culpable for the choices we're given because I put my finger on the scale, on one side of the scale rather than the other. Rather than not affecting it at all. I'd rather have some effect rather than no effect.
Shame on you. Shame on everybody that voted for this fuck.
Everybody who voted for... See, I'm not quote mining you, Paul. Everybody who voted for Biden, you're basically saying here, is a pro-rape, anti-women's rights, fucking hypocritical piece of shit. And you're very dishonestly framing people who voted for Biden as if they don't care about these issues. When you know, again, perfectly well, Paul, that yes, we fucking do care about these issues. That's why a lot of us voted for Biden. You can say that we were misguided and naive and fucking stupid. All you goddamn want, Paul. You can tell us that we actually acted against our best interests and we're dumb as fuck for that. But you impugning the intentions of people for the way they voted, I'll be honest, Paul. I've criticized you quite a bit on my channel, but I've gone out of my way, Paul, out of respect to you, out of deference, not just to a content creator I look up to, but as a fellow human being that I respect. I've gone out of my way to not impugn your character for the dumb fuck political positions that you espouse on your show and that you spread to your impressionable audience. I've gone out of my way to try and empathize with where the fuck you're coming from, Paul. I get it. You like to say, oh, well, I've been around longer than you and I voted for Obama and I lived through the Obama presidencies and nothing happened and nothing happened and this shit got worse and that shit got worse and nothing ever changes. And that somehow makes you more qualified to speak on these things than me. That makes your opinions more valid somehow. Because Paul thinks that the little chunk of time that he's been alive and the amount of politics that he can remember is indicative of how shit will always be. Why don't you try going back to the fucking 60s, Paul, and telling black people that were voting Democrat back in the 60s. Go tell them their vote wasn't going to matter. That it's always going to be the same. Why don't you go back to slave times? Tell the people that were fighting to abolish slavery it didn't fucking matter. I'm sorry, Paul, that there is precedent for great change in this country. Just because you haven't lived to see sufficient enough change to satisfy you doesn't mean it hasn't happened and doesn't mean it can't happen. But at the end of the day, Paul, like I said, I try to be very fucking charitable to you. I disagree with you, but you know what? I used to be in the exact same position as you. I used to agree with you 100%. A couple years ago, I would have been watching this stream and fucking applauding. My positions have evolved, Paul. And it's not because I care less. It's because I care more. And if you want to say that you care more as well, I can give you that, dude. I can give you that and be like, well, Paul cares a lot too. And Paul believes in what he believes in. But never would I impugn your fucking character. Would I say, oh, look at Paul's ego. Look at Paul's ego arguing against voting. We all know the effect that's going to have, right? Telling lefties not to vote. Going to cause more and more Republicans to win. You know what I think? I think Paul's a secret fucking Republican. I think Paul secretly wants a fascist fucking dictatorship. I think Paul secretly is racist. I don't do that, Paul. Because I like to argue in good faith. Which is why I didn't want to respond to you in this way. I wanted you to come on and at least if we have a fucking disagreement on this, we can sit down and talk about it. We can parse our fucking differences. But you want to make this acrimonious and fucking heated. I don't want to get heated with you, Paul. We have differences in fucking opinions. You want to believe that my beliefs are abhorrent? Well, I believe some of yours are abhorrent. What do you want? I want to talk about ideas. I want to sit down and talk about ideas, how we can make this country better. I don't want to shit on people just because I disagree with them. Fuck, I'm trying to do better at not doing that to Republicans either. I'm trying hard, guys. You guys know I get heated sometimes, but I'm working on it. I'm actively working on it, and I fuck up a lot of the time. But I want to view people in general as yeah, I want to view people charitably. I want to try and, like, understand where people are coming from. Meet people halfway. And that's what I tried to do when you came on my show, Paul. Rather than trying to shove my ideology down your throat and strong-arm you into agreeing with me, I tried to meet you halfway. I tried this. Okay, well, let's see. I see where you're coming from there, and I see where you're coming from there. I see why you hold these positions, but I don't agree. You don't seem to, like, you'll be satisfied until I just fucking, like, concede and say, okay, I'm wrong. I'll never vote for another Democrat again. All hail Paul. All hail no confidence. What? Let's watch some more of this fucking bullshit.
And double shame on anybody who endorses a fucking thing that he does.
Double shame on anybody who endorses a fucking thing, even one fucking thing that Biden does. Hey guys, that infrastructure bill that Biden's office is putting forth, you're not allowed to endorse it, not allowed to like it. If they legalize weed at some point, not allowed to endorse that. Not allowed. If they ever do anything positive, nope. We gotta sit here with fucking crossed arms and say, nope. Fuck them Democrats. Holy fucking shit. I believe, guys, I believe fully in negatively reinforcing the Democrats when they do bad things. But we also have to do positive reinforcement when they do good things. Otherwise, they will never learn. They will never learn what actually makes the American people happy and what actually pisses them off. Yes, hold them accountable for the bad things they do. But fuck anyone who ever endorses a thing they do. Sounds an awful lot like there's nothing they could do to get you to look at them and be like, yeah, I'm glad they did that. Yeah, I endorse that action. That sounds fucking dishonest, Paul. And I will say, a few people have brought up the fact in the chat so far, and I haven't addressed it yet, the fact that you do kind of bully your audience into agreeing with you. Yeah, that's why I stopped watching you for a long fucking time. Because I feel like I can't even show up in your fucking chat and have a good faith discussion on something we disagree with without you spewing venom and vitriol at me. And anyone else in the chat who disagrees with you. Learn to have some goddamn humility, Paul. Learn to take a step back from your own giant fucking ego for a minute. And maybe comprehend the idea that someone else has an idea other than yours. And that maybe, even though it's a different idea from yours, it's not just automatically invalid. Because again, Paul, I disagree with you vehemently. But I don't view your fucking dumb fuck takes. Your dumb fuck hashtag no confidence. Your ineffective fucking whining. Hey, the other day, Paul, during another stream, Paul got mad at me because because it's very hard to, put out these ideas in a fucking chat, especially when Paul doesn't see all the shit that you're saying and misses shit and reads it quickly off and then makes a fucking assumption about what you mean. But yeah, he was talking about how, he was talking about policies that need to be implemented. Someone in his chat was like, oh, well, what about the budget? How do we pay for it? That's expensive. And it was like, the military budget. And I was kind of trying to get across the idea of like, yeah, why don't lefties push that more? Lefties should be pushing military budget, cut military spending. We can afford it. Show the numbers. Keep running the numbers as lefties. Keep fucking propagandizing that, for lack of a better term. And I was like, lefties need to be fucking spamming shit like hashtag defund the military, not defund the police. And Paul just like, oh, this is the fucking problem with people and their stupid hashtags. Lefties that think they're making a difference with their hashtags. And then he's like, oh, well, except for my hashtag. Obviously, hashtag no confidence. I don't know if you were joking there, Paul, but like, first of all, I wasn't saying all we need to do is just spam a hashtag either, okay? But I was saying that as kind of a general, we need to get the idea out there. Much like you want to get the idea of no confidence out there. Only difference is I view your fucking no confidence shit as dangerous. Because I think it's far easier right now to disenfranchise lefties than right-wingers. Right-wingers don't care. They don't have morals. They'll vote for whoever. Just as long as it's someone on their side. And I'm not saying that's a wonderful trait. But there's a lot of tactics that the right employs that just works for them. And we don't do that shit. We just don't. We instead sit back and have arguments with each other. No one wants to get on the same page about anything. Like, holy fuck. Imagine if we had these vitriolic, heated arguments during the primaries, during the presidencies. You know, we argue ideas heatedly. But then, when it comes time to vote, we do what needs to be done. Another Republican would never win. And if another Republican never... I already think it's getting harder and harder for Republicans to actually fucking win. If we pass the what is it? The ballot initiative. What is it? What's it called? There's an initiative in several states. It just needs a couple more states to sign off on it. And each state will actually be able to vote based on based on the number of votes rather than the number of delegates. What was it? I'm blanking on what the policy was. I've showed it on stream a few times, but if that passes, third parties could actually be viable, which means at that point, really a fucking yeah, the popular vote wins. Thank you. Yeah, it's a ballot to go with the popular vote so that states can vote with the popular vote instead of how their delegates or whatever want to vote. That's good. That's good policy. We need to be pushing for it, especially in the states where it's up next. See, I believe in direct action. I believe in getting involved. I believe in pushing specific things. Paul wants to act like you can only do direct action or you can vote, because voting somehow undermines whatever direct action you might take. No. Voting helps to tip the scales in our favor so that when we do take direct action, we can have an easier time at it. And not have a president in office that says when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
It won't sink in. It never does.
Again, I love it. Like, what you're saying has to sink into me, dude. Like, this is the thing. Paul is not coming here trying to, like, have conversations with people. He's coming trying to tell people what to believe. I do a lot of, I do a lot of political arguing on this channel. I don't tell people, this is what you should believe. I don't have this attitude like, anyone who walks away from my stream not agreeing with me is a fucking idiot. Because I'm trying to spread ideas. And you know what? If someone in my fucking chat corrects me, I'll take it. I've been corrected by my chat a lot. I get in discussions with my chat a lot where I'll concede points. But that's the thing. Like, my message isn't going to sink into you anyway because you have all the power in this exchange. You know you do. That's why, again, this doesn't work. Your platform works for getting your ideas out there and maybe you learning how to argue against opposing positions a little better. But in terms of actually, like, coming to ideas, finding common ground with people, that's just never going to happen. All you're going to do is solidify your audience of people who already agrees with you and just push away those who don't. Rather than what I'm trying to do, which is bring in everybody, regardless of whether or not they believe with me, try and change minds on some issues. And if people don't want to change their minds on other issues, at least we're making headway. I've watched you for years, Paul, in good faith. I've watched you. I've come back to you even when I disagree with you. I don't just leave because I'm like, oh, I don't agree with Paul. Fuck him. I try to hang out in your chat and to interact with you. But, like, you seem like hostile Paul. And I'm not playing the victim. Don't fucking accuse me of that. You seem genuinely hostile towards any fucking opposing opinions. Yeah, it does kind of feel like you're creating an echo chamber. Again, I don't impugn people's character just for having a minor political disagreement. Even if it's a big political disagreement. I go by people's actions. And again, Paul, I think it's very bad faith of you to call me out and saying I'm not pro women's rights because I voted for a person when my actions would clearly dictate otherwise. I'm sorry, I wouldn't be dedicating my time on my channel to both Paul and TJ have told Jamie off now. You'd think they'd get the fucking picture. Paul didn't attack your character, you narcissist. Do you want to go back where he literally says, what kind of advocate are you for trans rights? For women's rights? You claim to care about rape victims, but you voted for a rapist? Paul is not, I want to be clear, by the way, this isn't me being narcissistic. Paul isn't just impugning my character. Paul is impugning the character of everybody who voted for Joe Biden by saying that you can't, basically saying you can't care about rape victims. You can't care about women's issues or any of these issues if you voted. Go blow it out your... Paul's the fucking narcissist. Oh, my position is so fucking infallible. I'm the only one with the moral high ground on anything because I didn't vote. Are you fucking kidding me, Paul? Really? You're the only one with moral standards? I bet I could point out some of your hypocrisies. You can point out people's hypocrisies all fucking day. We're hypocritical creatures. Human beings are hypocritical. Sometimes we're going to do something that contradicts something else we say or believe. And we can only... We can only be so consistent. I promise you, you're not super consistent, Paul. Nobody is. And honestly, I think the consistency meme, the hypocrisy meme, is a distraction. I believe in the things I believe in, and I can defend those things that I believe. I can defend those each individual position I hold. And you can say you're not convinced, it's not good enough to change your mind. But you're doing a lot of assuming of the intentions behind those actions. And the double shame on anyone who supports a single thing Biden did. Get the fuck out of here. Holy fuck. What a hyperbolic statement to make. But that's the fucking problem. All of Paul's streams it feels like just hyperbolic yelling. Oh my god, the system's broken, the Democrats suck, fuck Democrats. It's like, okay, well, Democrats are better than Republicans, but they're still bad, fuck Democrats, don't vote for them. I believe in the future of this country. So yeah, I'm gonna make my decisions when it comes to voting. Again, Paul, I could argue in bad faith and say, oh, look at Paul. Claims to be a leftist. But the action he's engaging in, I believe, to be directly empowering Republicans to do worse things in these countries. in this country. I could say Paul doesn't care. Paul doesn't care about the atrocities of Republicans, Republican lawmakers. Paul doesn't care about states where abortion is being made illegal. He doesn't fucking care, guys. I'm not doing that. Because I don't believe that. In fact, I think Paul cares a little too much, which isn't a bad thing. I care too much in certain ways, too. I think Paul cares so much that he gets so passionate and heated about these subjects that I think it informs his positions rather than thinking of things pragmatically, rather than parsing the nuances of the decisions that you have to make regarding who to vote for or not vote for. Wait, okay, I know you guys are asking about this. The TJ, by the way, I love this. People are like, there's still people who are like, oh, TJ fucking destroyed you, Jamie. Why are you still doing things? Why are you like, people give me shit. I'm still a mod in TJ's chat, and people give me shit. Oh, why are you still showing up here after TJ fucking destroyed you? TJ took back most of the shit he said in that one stream in like the very next stream. And we talked it out, and it was very clear that TJ had like walked back a lot of the shit he said. He called me out for like switching my identity so quickly, and kind of implied I was just fake and trying to like put on different personas to see what worked. And then he admitted fully that no, he understands that I'm going through a journey and trying to like, everyone's going through a goddamn journey, trying to figure out who the fuck they are. Self-discovery. We're all doing that. So no, TJ and Paul didn't both fucking destroy me, okay? Yeah, I wasn't aware being a mod in TJ's chat means me and him can't agree on shit. Disagree on shit. That seems to be, I don't know. Paul has mods who disagree with him, so I'm not going to say that. I'm not going there. Paul had his reasons for unmodding me, which I... Whatever. I'm fully... Look, I'll say this, too. I believe Paul has a very skewed view of me, and it's not even entirely his fault, because I was a dipshit. I was a dipshit back when Paul first met me. When he first came on my show, it was not a good show. I was not very smart. I didn't run shit very well. My channel was kind of a drama-mongering cesspool. So I'm not going there. All right.
Confidence. No confidence.
No.
Not powerful matters to me when they back women up against the wall.
Okay, he's just repeating this shit. Let's
He's done to women his entire fucking life. It makes me want to puke as a leftist. And I'd rather sit in a mire of fucking complete irrelevancy than vote for that.
Again, Paul, it makes me sick as a leftist too, but not so sick that I'm going to ignore the pragmatism of voting for Democrats over Republicans. I'm sorry.
See, I take a stand, because that's the power I actually have over fucking rapists. I refuse to sign my name next to theirs. The rest of it's up to fucking law enforcement, and you know it. I'm sorry, but this is nothing but an emotional...
Oh yeah, law enforcement, which does so amazing with rape cases, as you see. Like, that's the thing. What law enforcement is gonna fucking hold Joe Biden accountable? None. Again, even if Joe Biden wasn't elected president, he still wouldn't have been held accountable. Okay, let's here.
Argument. Goddamn right it is. It's about raping women. You want me to bring logic and nuance to rape? Is that what you're planning on doing in your forthcoming streams, Jamie?
So, in my forthcoming streams, do I plan to bring logic and nuance to... I mean, of course. I plan to bring logic and nuance to everything, and I plan to view it from an emotional side, too. Again, I don't know what the fuck that has to do with anything. Even if I have to, like, swallow my fucking sickness at voting for a fucking disgusting warmongering rapist like Joe Biden, doesn't mean that there's no... doesn't mean I should forego all logic and nuance in making that decision. See, that's the problem, Paul. I'm not saying emotions are bad. I'm not saying that using your emotions to help you reach a position is bad. I'm saying you seem to be relying just on emotions here. This is solely an emotional argument. There is no logic in this, Paul. I'm sorry. None. This is an emotional argument you're making, Paul. You're putting your name next to a rapist. I can't put my name next to a rapist. I also can't sit by and watch fascists take over this country. I can't sit by and watch women's issues be eroded. Watch the issues of immigrants be eroded, Paul. Holy fuck. Yes, use emotions to help you come to your positions, but when it's solely based on anger and spite, as it's pretty nakedly clear watching this that that's what your position comes from, your nakedly spiteful aversion to Joe Biden, I don't know what to fucking say to you. Yes, use logic, but don't throw all yes, use emotions, but don't throw all fucking logic out the window. Don't throw all nuance out the window. Nuance is important. Especially when you have a dumb, a hard decision to make, Paul. Especially when you gotta choose between two disgusting pieces of shit. And you know that your actions, either way, voting, not voting, are gonna result in one or another piece of shit being empowered. Yes, you use nuance there, Paul. Absolutely. How else do you make that decision? Oh, right. I'm not voting. Not voting, it's fuck. They're both bad. Fuck the differences. Fuck the nuances. Again, Paul, you want emotional arguments? I care more about the individual people in this country that are going to suffer from 4 more years of Trump. You know what else I care about, Paul? And this is another big this is my... You want me to argue from the heart, Paul? Here's a good emotional argument, Paul, for why the fuck I, personally, vote against Republicans. Because you brought up at one point that you're a victim of abuse, too. You're a victim of child sex abuse. And I'm sorry, Paul. It's fucked. From one abuse victim to another, it's fucked. And I'm sorry you had to go through that. But as someone who was raised going through immense emotional, psychological, and religious abuse, I don't want the party that is pro that type of parenting, that is pro the type of the type of ideas that allow children to be fucking abused and manipulated and indoctrinated into ideologies that force them to hate themselves, Paul. I don't want literally there are it's always Republicans who push for shit like child marriage laws, who push for against sex education for children, something that is widely known to prevent sex abuse in children when they actually, or at least help them be able to report it when they know what the fuck is happening to them. Republicans are adamantly against these things, Paul. Republicans go out of their way to make it easier for abusers to get away with disgusting acts in this country behind closed doors. Or even in classrooms. My God, Trump's fucking, what was it, the 1776 commission or whatever? Or his stupid fucking, attempt at like, re-educating young people with propaganda about this country. See, that's what Republicans want to do, Paul. Republicans want to make it easier to brainwash people, children. And I'm not for that. I want Republicans disempowered. I hate the Democrats, but I at least prefer what they claim to stand for. And I'd rather have that pushed to the forefront of our country. I'd rather have those ideas widely spread than the ideas that allow further abuse, further child abuse, further trivialization of women's issues, and rape. I'd rather those people in power, even if the people at the top are fucking hypocrites. Yes, absolutely.
Rape, vote, rape, vote. Sounds wiggle wormy to me, to be quite motherfucking frank. Sounds wiggle wormy to me, to be quite.
Wait, what? God damn it! Here, let me jump to some fucking timestamps. Holy fuck! Because yeah, he repeats himself a lot here. God damn it. All right. What else do I want to respond to? Let's go to... I don't know Paul's story. I think he told it on stream. I don't remember the details. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't know.
To vote against the rights of every victim of his, those that haven't come forth and those that have. That up.
Okay, you know what? Here, I'm gonna go to this specific point. Here, 18. Oh, okay.
I love this. The rape of Tara Reid is a conspiracy theory on par with the fucking Red Scare and the McCarthy hearings. What happened to believe all women? What happened to believe the story, believe the woman, believe the victim? What happened to that? I guess it goes out the window when you're talking about a political opponent. This is who you associate with, by the way, Jamie.
So that wasn't something I said, by the way. That was something that someone else in the chat said who was agreeing with me, and they were piping in too. And yeah, I love this. This is who I associate with because I hold a position. I associate with people who hold the same. What are you talking about, Paul?
Just want to let you know. These are the people in your camp.
These are the people in my camp because, look, I'm not saying everyone that agrees with me about voting for Biden is right about every issue. Like, this is the fucking problem, Paul. Again, out with the nuance. Fuck nuance, right? Yeah, fuck nuance. Why? Why would we want nuance? No. Someone said a thing that vaguely pushes an idea you agree with. So therefore that you agree with them. What is this bad faith argumentation, dude? I didn't say that. I personally don't know whether the Tara Reade accusation accusation has weight to it behind it or not. I lean towards believing women, but I also don't just believe them outright without a shred of evidence, or you know, or some credibility to their story. Her story sounds credible enough, but I don't. Again, it's irrelevant, Paul. We were voting between two rapists. This is the problem. Like, Paul just, like, hammers in his positions, and I've already fucking, like, explained why it's bullshit a million times by now in this stream. Like, you're just trying, like, yeah, it sucks for Tara Reade, and if she actually went through what she says she did, I feel really bad for her that her rapist is the president of the United States right now. But I'm sorry. The DNC empowered him, not me. The DNC gave us the position, the decision of him versus Trump. That's it. There wasn't another option.
Leave your position. And that's all there is to it, dude. Look at the arc of emotional fucking shit you went through. You were just fucking like 10 minutes ago accusing me of being too emotional. I'm too emotional about the abuse of women and the empowerment of their abusers. You might want to state that on your channel. Tell that to the next victim you bring on to talk.
So wait, what did I say here? I said... Did I even say something? I don't think I even did. Oh. Oh, because I said I'm not going to defend... Wait, let me go back a second.
Her story. Look at that doesn't account for what I've brought up here tonight. And that doesn't account for the duality. I'm going to defend what I've done.
Oh.
Because that doesn't account for what I've brought up here tonight. And then I'm not going to defend what I've done. Because that doesn't account for what I've brought up here tonight. And that doesn't account for the duality of your position.
Okay, no. Okay, again, Paul is misreading what I meant to say here. And again, it's very hard to get these ideas out in chat. What I was trying to say, because I said I'm not going to defend Joe Biden or what, because at the end of the day, I and especially during this chat, I was getting really fucking sick of this, like, oh, well, you have to answer for this that Joe Biden did. You have to answer for this that Joe... No, I don't. No, I don't, Paul. Like I was trying to say there, I'm not going to defend Joe Biden or the Democrats. In fact, I think Joe Biden and a lot of the Democrats are pieces of shit. In fact, I don't even love everything that AOC and Bernie do. I'm not going to defend Democrats. They're terrible people. All politicians are terrible people. But there's still degrees of terrible, Paul. There are degrees of terrible. It's not my job to defend every bad thing that the Democrats do, that the Republicans would have done as well. All I have to do is defend the good things. And I can. I know that the problem is it's not good enough for you. I can list off all the fucking good things that the Biden presidency has done. What was this one? Oh. Oh, yeah. You want me to actually... Here. I don't want to just list things off the top of my head, because knowing Paul is going to be... I don't know. Here. Stopped withdrawal from the World Health Organization, installed a coronavirus response coordinator, mandated mask wear. I mean, they've already been the Democrats have already been way better on COVID. Way better. Extended the eviction moratorium. Paused student loans. Stopped construction of the border wall. Preserved DACA. And I know a lot of this is just undoing the shit that Trump did. Prevented workplace discrimination from against the LGBTQ community. Rejoined the Paris Climate Accord. Again, it's not the sweeping change we need on fucking green energy, but hey, the infrastructure bill that I went over on a stream recently. The very fact the very fact that we have a president that is willing to admit that we have a white supremacy problem in this country rather than just adding to it. Holy fuck. But it's not my job as someone who advocated for voting for Biden to answer for every bad thing he does. Am I going to be on Underhaven starting already? Are you kidding me? We start like an hour from now. Wait. What's... Thought I had another hour. What the fuck? We've been doing Underhaven later and later, yo. Whatever. I'll go on there when I'm done. I didn't know you meant that early, Annie. You didn't give me a time. Okay. It's all right. I'm gonna go to a couple more points and I'm gonna end this because I feel like I'm repeating myself with Paul anyway. Like it's getting all right. So here's the reason why I did this.
For victims of sex abuse. You got a problem with that? Pay me. Pay me to not be read.
That's not him talking to me, by the way. That's him talking to the person in his that was donating to him that agreed with me, or at least agreed with me on some things and was trying to argue against what Paul was saying. They kept paying to like disagree with Paul, and he kept getting saltier and saltier, and then said, "Yeah, you're gonna pay me now for me to not read what you're saying." Okay, whatever. Then he challenges me here.
Well, in lieu of a proper discussion, Jamie, how about this? How about you take this conversation that we had tonight and you use the ability that you have as a content creator and you make a piece of content about it. And then if I feel that piece of content warrants further conversation with you, we can do that. See, I'm not talking to your average Joe Blow driving a truck down the road here. You have a platform on this fucking website, Jamie. Do a little of the fucking legwork if you care about this.
Well,
it's all here. It's not going anywhere.
that is true. I do have a platform. And, hey, this makes decent content. But, see, that's the thing, Paul. I didn't want to do, like, this back and forth of content where, like, you scream at me for an hour and I scream at you for an hour. And then you watch my stream and scream back at me for an hour. I wanted to try and sit down with you and fucking, like, see eye to eye. Find some kind of fucking middle ground. But it's clear from your attitude on this shit anyway that you don't want to find a middle ground. At least that's how it comes off, Paul. If I'm being uncharitable towards you right now, then please tell me. Because it comes off like... Again, you bringing up my positions, the things I believe in, trying to say that I'm a hypocrite. It feels like you're trying to use certain things that you know I care about to try and force me to change my position. Because you think like, oh, you're so like brilliant. Like, oh, see, I found the flaw in Jamie's logic. I found the fucking fatal flaw in her argument. She needs to fucking admit it. Otherwise, she's wrong about everything. And that's what it feels like. I'm not saying you're doing that or that you're even doing it intentionally. But that's the thing, Paul. And yeah, you want me to fucking respond to you like this? I'll respond to you like this. I just tend to get more heated. Maybe that's... hey, maybe that's what the people want, right? Here. Actually, wait. You know what? I'm just going to keep playing this.
Been talking to you for a fucking hour. Did you check out Taylor's interview on her channel? Yep, I watched the whole thing.
Well, everyone should watch that, by the way. Good stream.
You can do a response on stream. You can make a standalone piece of content. I think it'd be better to do in an environment where you're not worried about other people, since you seem to think that that's what's butchering our ability to have this conversation.
No, Paul. See, that's the point I wanted to respond to right there. No, Paul. It's not other people that are getting in the way of my ability to have this conversation. It's the fact that I'm talking in your chat, which moves pretty fast. You don't see every single message I post, and some of the messages I post don't get posted. The first 3 messages when you were waiting for me to respond literally didn't go through because they had the word rape in them. And so it's really hard to like make an argument. It's also hard to like make an impassioned argument. You don't hear the inflection in my voice, so you can easily just pass off what I say to you as, just more excuses. Oh, look, you said Trump is a rapist too. Even if I did say the first post the way I meant to say it, you'd be like, oh, Trump is a racist too. Oh, what about him? But no, my point was Trump is a rapist too. We don't get a choice on whether or not we get a rapist as the leader of this country. We do get a choice on whether or not we get someone who pushes black women's LGBTQ rights, immigrants' rights in this country. Whether we get more green policies, at least a little bit of a step in the right direction, or none of them. Those are the things we got to choose between. There wasn't an option on the ballot that said, nope, I don't want a rapist. If that was the option, if there was an option saying, do you want this rapist, or no rapist, then I would fucking see your argument here. And that's all I was trying to tell you from the very beginning. But it's very hard to get those ideas out over text. Thank you for subscribing. Especially when you view the text comments of people who disagree with you so uncharitably. So there you go, Paul. I hope this response was sufficient for you. I know you said that if I didn't do a good enough job at this or whatever, that I'd always just be a regular chatter in your chat or whatever the fuck that means. Actually, wait, is this where he says it? I'll let him. I don't want to.
Whatever you want.
I don't want to mind quote him, dude.
Other people have a right to complain about being misrepresented in the chat and shit. You got a fucking platform, Jamie.
And by the way, sure, but like I go into, that's the thing. I go to people's chats to chill and hang out. I don't go there to like vehemently defend my political positions. I come here to defend my political positions because that's the point of this platform, because I can speak way more freely on this platform and I can get my ideas across way more freely in this platform. It's one of the reasons I try not to spark up arguments with you in the chat, but lately when you see me in the chat, you argue with me because you know we have disagreements. And you'd rather talk at me than sit down and have a fucking conversation, content creator to content creator, Paul. But whatever. If you think this isn't sufficient and you don't want to fucking come on my channel again, fair enough. I don't really care. Because at the end of the day, I've tried to be very charitable to your positions, and I don't feel like you've afforded me the same courtesy. So if a discussion with you is going to go like it went here, then I'm not interested. Or even how it went on my stream, because I don't like having to yell back at you, Paul. I don't like having to fucking get so heated and venomous. I don't like it. I want to address each other as human beings with thoughts and feelings and ideas in good faith. And I'm sorry, Paul, nothing in this stream was good faith. So here's what I'm going to say to you, Paul. If you want to have a discussion with me, it needs to be in good faith, or I'm not interested. Don't make me answer for the fucking duplicitous actions of someone who's in power now when I honestly believed that I didn't have a better choice. And a lot of people didn't. You want to argue about the fucking nuances there? Go ahead. We can do that. But unless you want me to start impugning the character of people who don't vote, stop impugning the character of people who do. It's a bad faith tactic. It's dishonest, and it honestly made me really fucking disappointed in that whole fucking exchange that I had with you, Paul. And it made me almost not want to interact with you anymore at all. Because I'd rather have some modicum of respect for the people I'm arguing with, especially when I know that they're mostly on my side and that we agree on more than we disagree on. Stop using this gatekeeping logic. Because you're basically saying that anyone who voted for Biden is not a true leftist. That's not going to help. Not even a little bit. All you're going to do is convince people that, wow, those leftists are crazy. I'm not interested in that. I want liberals to become leftists. So even if I were to change my position on voting, I would never push people away and shame them because they felt that voting was the right decision to make. Just like I know you were very annoyed and with people that were trying to shame you for not voting. No one should shame them for voting or not. Like, get out of here. Paul and Destiny would get along. Yeah, probably. They're both very fucking spiteful towards leftists and people who fucking... yeah. I don't know. Destiny seems more spiteful towards leftists in general, though. Paul just seems spiteful towards anyone who voted for Biden. So I don't know. Like I said, I want to be more charitable. And I am. Look, Paul, I get why Paul is angry. I get why he feels emotionally the way he does. I just don't agree with it. I'm not even going to say his emotions are invalid, because they're not. But feels like Paul wanted Trump. No, see, that's what I'm not going to engage in. That's what I'm not. That's the kind of bad faith argumentation that Paul engaged in here that I'm not going to engage in, because I don't believe in that. I think that's a dirty tactic. You have to admit that Paul is a cool guy, though. Damn right, Bernie Sanders. No, look, Paul is a cool guy, and when he's not like irrationally fucking screaming about politics, he's a cool dude, and I could get along with him in a lot of ways. I agree with him on a lot of shit that's not politics based, and I even agree with him on a lot of political positions. It's just the voting thing that he seems so hung up on, and he seems like he wants to like make enemies with anyone who's pro-voting. Like, just like he's been fucking like very uncharitable towards Vosh and throwing pot shots at Vosh, when I feel like him and Vosh could have like some productive conversations rather than making enemies of each other. He's dying on this hill and it's the worst take he has. Yeah, I agree with that. Have this take, argue for it, but my God. Like, don't die on the hill and don't gatekeep based on it. Like, holy fuck, Paul. How are you going to convince people to join your no confidence movement if your beginning position is shaming them for who they fucking voted for? It's not a good step in the right direction. He did say he would have preferred Trump because it'd be easier to persuade people to the left. I disagree. I think it would have been harder to be a leftist. It's harder to persuade people it's harder to be the persuasive party, you know, spreading ideas and convincing people when your rights are being oppressed more and more, when you're being silenced more and more. God damn it. Yeah, I'm not down for that accelerationism. I'm not down for like the again, you want emotional arguments? I'm not down for the fucking the rights of young black LGBTQ disabled children under another 4 years of a Trump presidency. I'm not okay with that. Anyway. I know you'd like to comment on this, Jay Stevnik. I've got to go. I don't have time I have to get on Underhaven. I'm already late for Underhaven because I assumed we were starting Underhaven when we normally start it. Yeah, when I told Annie I'd be doing this stream, they were just like, oh, well, make sure you stream early because we're doing Underhaven tonight. I was like, oh, okay. We're going to do Underhaven at the regular time now. Turns out, we're doing it. Is it happening now? I'll get over there in a minute. Yeah, doomerism and acceleration cannot work. Cannot ever work, in my opinion. I don't think they can either. No, I don't like the doomerism. On a lot of levels, I don't like it. I don't like acting like we've already lost. I don't like lying down and refusing to take action. I don't like saying, "Oh, it's all fucked. Let's make it worse. Let's let it all go to no." I want to save lives. I want to reduce harm. I want to make conditions in this country better, not worse. Hopium and doomerism are as oil is to water. Well, I guess that's why me and Paul are so at odds. Because I want to be more positive. I want to be more optimistic. I want to look at the system that's broken and fucked and look to the past and all the changes we've made over the decades. Slavery being ended, segregation being ended, women getting the right to vote. I want to view that as an overall positive trend towards progressive change. And I want to do my best to keep fighting for that, keep pushing that, keep going down that road. Because I'm not so cynical. Honestly, I'm not so blindly optimistic that I think voting for a Democrat or even voting for Bernie Sanders is going to magically fix everything. I'm pragmatic. I try to be nuanced. I try to be honest. I try to not let my emotions get the better of me. Yes, absolutely, Paul. Use your emotions. They're a good thing. But don't lean on your emotions all the way. Don't just throw away any fucking nuance because you're emotional. That leads you to bad decisions. There's good that we can do. And I do not believe in giving up the fight. I believe in always fighting, always pushing forward, always trying to accomplish the best that we possibly can. I believe in taking every advantage that is laid out before us. And again, Paul, I view voting for one candidate or the other, I don't view it as an outright endorsement of all of their actions. I view it as looking at the system pragmatically, looking at the possible outcomes, and putting our finger on the scale on one side or the other so we can tip it a little more in the direction we want it, so that we can do direct action, have a better time at it, make real change in this country, spread class consciousness, worker solidarity. That's what's important to me. Not giving up. Which I'm sorry, Paul. I know you get mad when people accuse you of just having a do-nothing ideology. That's what I see hashtag no confidence as. I know you say, oh, now you're saying, oh, well, go engage locally. I wonder how many of the people in your audience, I wonder how many of the cynical doomers that believe that, like, everything is fucked and there's no point. I wonder how many of those people are going to go engage in some direct action. I've talked to people in your audience, Paul. Hell, I used to be one. And I absolutely know that a lot of the people who listen to you take away that message, even if that's not what you're fucking intending for them to take away. Paul isn't advocating to lay down. He wants to make actions outside of the government. You're misrepresenting his argument. I'm not trying to misrepresent his argument, and I don't believe that I am. Because all of the actions that Paul points towards doing outside of the government are just vague. We need some vague solidarity movement. We need some vague push towards direct action. Like, in terms of, like, actually getting anything done electorally, yes, he is advocating to lay down. I'm not even saying that he doesn't have specific solutions outside of that, but electorally, he's telling you to lay down. He's telling you to not engage in an action that you can use to your advantage. And again, that's what you believe, do that. But stop impugning the character of others because they don't do that. I'm pretty sure I said most of what I wanted to say. Yeah. Look, again, I know that Paul advocates for direct action outside of voting. But, like, I believe that great change can be done with voting and with pushing the Democratic Party and spreading ideas and class consciousness. Spreading these ideas that we want to become mainstream in the Democratic Party. And just in this country in general. I believe that I don't believe that there's no value in this. Even if there's not all the value we want to be in this, there's still value in it. Anyway, I'm probably gonna end this now and go jump on Underhaven. Yeah, I love y'all. Make sure subscribe to my podcast, guys. Me and Anna do a podcast. It's called Underhaven. I'm supposed to be on there right now. Didn't realize it was starting so early. So I'm gonna be over there next. Go subscribe to that. There's a link in my description. It's in the related channels on my channel. In fact, here. Go over there, guys. See you over there next. And again, to everybody, if you're even to Paul himself, and if you're a Paul viewer, guys, I don't mean any ill will. I'm not trying to, like, be uncharitable to people. I just disagree with you. And I believe that honestly, when it comes to what Paul advocates for, I think both our positions are good. If you just discount, if you take away the don't vote part of what Paul says, I agree with most of it. And I think we can do a lot of that shit together. I think we can move forward as leftists together. My God, the election happened. It's over. You want to argue during the next election whether we should vote or not? Fine. But I think it's a waste of time to spend the next 4 years or the next 3 years arguing about this. Trying to shame people for who they voted for. Let's move forward. Let's decide what our next actions are going to be, because now that decisions that have been made and we have Joe Biden in power, It's not time to be like, well, here's why we shouldn't have voted for Joe Biden. That's done, Paul. It's time now to say, what do we do next? That's what I want to talk about. So I'm done with the electoralism argument for now, honestly. Unless Paul wants to come on and have a one-on-one good faith discussion, I'm done with it. It's over. I'm not doing this back and forth thing. Because I don't think it's productive at all. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll probably be back here tomorrow to do a short stream. And on Wednesday, I'm going to be interviewing the next of the victims in the Ben case. So keep an eye out for that. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, hopefully tomorrow will be a nice drama-free stream. All right? Because I really just want a stream that, like, isn't, like, stressful and, like, you know, full of, like, you know, vitriol or anything. Or negativity. Because I believe in staying positive over here, guys. All of you out there, remember to stay positive. I love y'all. Remember to spread the love. Y'all are beautiful, amazing, valid, wonderful people. And I hope you all have a really great night. See y'all on Underhaven. Peace.